Good morning Belgium and welcome to the Costa Brava and Girona's Pyrenees Week. My name is Wart and I will be your host for today. Ja, Wart is een Vlaamse naam. Ik ben geboren en getogen in het Meetjesland. Mais ça fait déjà 15 années que j'habite ici dans la région du Gironde. After months of lockdown, remote working and restricted mobility, I'm sure we all want to socialize and travel to feel a little freer and experience new sensations. This is why we have organized this event to tell you more about the Costa Brava and Girona's Pyrenees, and hopefully make it your preferred destination as prescribers and agents. Today is the second day and we will devote it to premium golf and well-being. We have Norbert Bes, manager of the Costa Brava Girona Tourism Board, with us and he will tell us more about it. How are you, Norbert?
Fine, thank you. Dank u wel, merci. Thanks for the presentation and hello everyone. The Belgian market is one of the most important markets for us, and there are some reasons. And the following reasons are first of the Mediterranean flavor, the warm weather and the sun. I think it's the most important reason. And we have the blue spaces on the beaches, and then also the green and ochreous landscapes, and even the snow, the white snow in the Pyrenees. This is the first reason. The second one is the diversity, an amazing diversity. You can see the landscapes on the countrysides, on the seaside, and even in the Pyrenees with the peaks of almost 3,000 meters. Then the third reason is the well care for the territory. We have eight natural parks, and 5 of them are accredited with the ECST award. And there's also a growing number of enterprises committed in the sustainable practices. This is very important for the territory. And another project we are working on intensively is to present the Costa Brava as a candidate to the Biosphere Reserve.
Wow, that's super.
And then the fourth reason is that we have an extraordinary range of accommodation options. We have boutique hotels, camping sites, apartments, and then also farmhouses scattered all over the territory. And finally, we have good connections with Belgium. We are placed only at 1,000 kilometers from Belgium, and we have connections with the main airports in Belgium.
All right, it's amazing. We know that the Belgian market is a consolidated market and has many times at the Costa Brava and Pyrenees, like me, for example. But what would you say that the destination's main feature or attribute is?
Well, definitely the main feature is the diversity. Have you ever dreamed of living 2 lives at once? Well, that's you can do in the Costa Brava and the Pyrenees de Girona.
Living 2 lives at once?
Yes.
How can you do that?
Because we have the sea,
of course,
and we have mountains, and with that alone we can experience twice as many sensations as most destinations.
Okay.
And I would also say twice as intense, because we have highly professionalized companies and very good local products and services.
Can you explain a little bit more clearly how these services are?
Well, we are sea people and mountain people, and that makes us very authentic. We have the Costa Brava, and from the Costa Brava to the Pyrenees, less than 1 hour and a half by car. We can say that the mountains fall straight into the sea at the eastern edge of the Pyrenees, a sea with more than 200 kilometers of beaches and mountains with more than 200 kilometers of ski slopes. In our little land, we can go skiing in the morning, and then in the afternoon you can, for example, walk on a trail on the seaside. So you can then, for example, go scuba diving in the afternoon. So I think it's an experience and it's amazing. Can you imagine it?
Well, you're absolutely right. And as a Belgian who lives in Girona, I can confirm that. When I was a child in Belgium, we went to Barak Frituur. for skiing, and we went to the beach to Blankenberge, where we had to cross the entire width of the country. And Norbert, I have to be honest, the North Sea can't compare with the Mediterranean, nor the beaches of Ostende can compare with the coast of the Costa Brava we have behind us, nor the heights and the hilling slopes of Wallonia with the slopes of La Mazelia and Molina. And no matter how much I like the French fries and mussels of Belgium, Girona's cuisine with its fusion between seas and mountain, is unrivaled. Do you know that our sparkling wines and cavas are very known in Belgium?
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's strange. I thought we were known in Belgium for Dali or Roca Brothers.
No.
Well, I would like to highlight our culture, spanning from prehistory to today, with a genius like Salvador Dali and his work. And then more than 500 heritage items to explore, and many thematic museums adapted to the new languages. This diversity also is in our festivals, especially those held in summer in beautiful settings. Our fantastic sea and mountain cuisine, using local products prepared by the best chefs and matched with local wines from Empordà. Then, between the Costa Brava and the Pyrenees de Girona, we have 16 restaurants with 21 Michelin stars awarded
Wow.
in different parts of the region.
That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot. I'm impressed. And besides all that, isn't it right that it's also a very safe destination in these uncertain times to travel to?
Yes, well, the situation is a little bit uncertain, but the local authorities, the government of Catalonia and the private sector has put in place all the measures to ensure our destination and to prevent COVID-19. So I think the situation, it will be better in the next weeks, and it's very important to keep updated about this, and there's a link on your screen and you can verify it if you want every day.
All right.
I think it's the most important thing.
With all that you're saying, Norbert, is it possible that many people have dreamed about Costa Brava and Pyrenees without even realizing it?
Of course, it's very possible. If you want to make the dream come true, the best thing is to wake up, to come and to live in person. That's the most important thing. Enjoy the Costa Brava and the Pyrenees de Girona.
Thanks a lot, Norbert, for everything you've told us. As a Belgian local in Girona, I can confirm that here it's like living a dream.
Thank you, dank je wel, merci.
You're welcome. I'm sure that you want to know more, so we'll be contacting the product managers soon, who will give you more information about everything that's available. But first, just one question. Do you know how Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees smells like? Well, today we'll find out. And first, let's hear from the premium golf and well-being product managers Sandra, Laia and Claudia. So tell us more about your destination. We're all ears. Over to you.
Thank you, Ward. Thanks for your time and for accompanying us on this little journey through the wonderful sensations the Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees offer us. We are Sandra, Laia and Claudia, and we are going to share with you some of the best kept secrets in travel.
Usually, when planning your holidays, you ask yourself whether if you feel like heading to the sea or to the mountains, whether you want to go with family or friends, if you prefer relaxing or doing something more active. Well, we are here to introduce you a place where you don't have to choose. A land where you can find snow and sun, yoga or golf, romantic getaways, or lively lunch with friends.
We'd like you to discover a place where you can have it all. A place surrounded by the sea, rivers, mountains, plains, and volcanoes.
We are located in the northeast of Spain, just an hour from Barcelona and from France, close to the main roads, the biggest airports and ports, well connected to all the hustle and bustle, but at the same time set apart, close to the big cities, but yet away from the crowds. The Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees are a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. How to choose a single phrase that could define all the appeal of Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees? A territory small in size, but huge in sensations.
In the short distance from the sky to the sea, our visitor can admire the 8 natural parks and savor our fascinating cuisine, which combines tradition and innovation. Follow me! Girona is rich in heritage, history, traditions and identity. Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees attract 1 million cultural tourists who are interested in the great historic and artistic heritage. Over the centuries, the Iberian, the ancient Greek and Romance left behind a priceless heritage. The identity of its land and of its people is constructed on the castles, medieval towns, the Jewish legacy and the signature of Salvador Dalí surrealist work. Not to mention the local art and craft, industrial heritage, music festivals or the traditional village festivities, all of which make the region exceptional and unique.
The province of Girona is well known for its cuisine and boasts 21 Michelin stars, shared among 16 restaurants. The key to its great cuisine is the use of local produce. The Girona area is a rich and fertile region that yields high-quality natural produce from the sea, the plains and its mountainous areas. Over 2,000 establishments across the entire province of Girona serve their clients more than just food. They provide memorable and delightful culinary experiences. The luxury we offer is simply our Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees way of life. Wild and free, natural, sustainable, respectful, the destination sensibility and warmth can be enjoyed firsthand in unique, exclusive and safe experiences. Visiting and rediscovering the Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees involves seeing things through new eyes. Would you like to taste and experience our luxury? Imagine being here right now, having breakfast among the vineyards. Hi girls!
Hi!
Cheers!
Cheers,
Enjoy!
Sandra.
Horse riding in a natural park or getting involved with the local culture and people in an art workshop. All of this complemented with a comfortable stay in one of our many accommodations options. A villa or luxury house, perhaps to feel at home, or a charming beauty hotel such as Relais and Chateau or leading hotels of the world, or glamping on the coast.
Located between Girona Pyrenees and Mediterranean Sea, they stand out for the varied scenery and layouts. Surrounded by pine trees, you can breathe in the fragrance of sunlit Mediterranean woodland while you play, accompanied by the distant sound of breaking wave. Paralada Resort, Torre Mirona, Golf de Pals, Empordà Resort, Parc Tres Gualta, Golf d'Aro Masnou, Golf Costa Brava, and PGA Catalunya Resort. Golf for all levels and for all styles, and most importantly, golf all year round. Costa Brava has a mild Mediterranean climate, famous for its sun-soaked date and deep blue sky. Now, let's discover another well-being experience that will help you research batteries and connect with nature.
The perfect blend of nature and different mental and spiritual activities available in the destination will help you awaken all your senses and emotions. Mindfulness by the sea, art therapy in a natural park, yoga among vineyards, qigong in the Pyrenees, or botanical gastronomy in the middle of the forest are only some examples. The destination is also pioneer on the development of 7 therapeutic itineraries in mature Mediterranean forest, where to take part in a forest bathing, an activity that blends mindfulness, relaxation techniques, and contact with nature. And of course, there is no better way to pamper your body than in the most innovative wellness centers around. Endorsed by centuries of tradition in the care of the body thanks to the confluence of different cultures and to the discovery of the great benefits of spring and thermal waters, the territory counts currently on the most advanced centers and specialized accommodation. They offer unique and exclusive treatments that combine pleasure with therapy.
With these beautiful views, which hardly do justice to reality, we'd like to say farewell. As Costa Brava Girona Tourism Board, we are at your service for anything you need. Contacting the destination, information, a specific request, and anything else we can do for you.
We leave you now in the capable hands of Ernesto Collado from Brava Nariz, a lover of the Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees and an expert in capturing the aroma of the landscape. Did you know that the smell is the sense that most strongly evokes memories and emotions?
We therefore that through your sense of smell we can transport you to our land, and that this will inspire and excite you as much as it does us. Thank you and see you soon. Ernesto, it's over you now.
Thank you very much, Sandra, Claudia, and Laia, and welcome you all to this unusual olfactory journey, online olfactory journey through the Costa Brava and Pyrenees landscapes. I have to tell you, really, that I'm very curious. I'm very curious about it because it's certainly the first time that I guide more than 30 people without seeing their faces, without listening to their voices. So. Yeah, I think it's going to be something strange, unusual, but I'm quite sure that it's going to be an exciting adventure. So I hope that you will enjoy it as much as I certainly will do. It's very easy. You see, the only thing you have to do is to watch this video, listen to my voice, and to have the landscape sense kit that you just received next to you. Later on, I will tell you what to do with it and when to use it, okay? To begin, let me tell you a little bit more about what I do. As these wonderful 3 Catalan ladies just said, I am Ernesto Collado. I'm the CEO and founder of Brava Nariz. Brava Nariz is a 100% natural perfume brand based here in the Empurda region. As you see, a wonderful one. But we don't really make perfumes. What we do is we capture the aromatic soul, the aromatic essence of the landscapes that moves us. It's not a poetic license. Although you may think that we Spanish people, we have a tendency to poetry and to make this kind of fantasies, but no, this is literal. We literally put landscapes in a bottle. And the reason why we do that is because we want people to reconnect with nature in a much more deeper and instinctive way. You see, smell is the most primitive of our senses. It's the one that reminds us about our animal condition. And for that reason, we believe is the best vehicle ever to really make that connection in a more powerful and instinctive way. And this is exactly what you are going to experience right now. A trip through the Costa Brava and Girona Pyrenees landscapes following your nose, which in fact means following your instinct and your heart. So, be ready to get a little bit wild, mess up your hair a little bit like I'm doing now with the Tramontana wind. Take a deep breath and be ready, because I'm quite sure our landscapes are not going to deceive you. Let me, to start, make some landscape considerations. Landscapes suppose a relationship. There is no landscape without someone who contemplates it, frames it, and gives it meaning. They also build us and shape us much more than we think. Ortega y Gasset, a great Spanish philosopher that I personally love, once said, "Landscape has created the best half of my soul." Well, the Empordà and the Pyrenees have shaped mine. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. But landscapes, they don't captivate us solely through sight. No, they do it with the five senses. And sense play a very important role. To contemplate the green valleys of the Garrocha Pyrenees from a high peak undoubtedly brings you closer to the sublime. But if at that moment someone were to pull out a cheap car air freshener, everything would crumble. But what do landscapes smell like? What is the smell of a recondite and forgotten cove in Aigua Blava? And the aroma of La Fageda d'en Jordà forest that you just have seen? Landscapes basically smell of plants. Of course, you have bacteria and fungus as well as the human activity, but basically of plants. Flowers, pollen, lichens, the cane wood, resins. The plant kingdom and its fascinating survival stratagems perfume the air, sending coded messages that we are still very far from understanding. Smell in the plant kingdom has to do with seduction and ultimately with communication. Fragrances are one of the most effective language systems. Let's picture the odoriferous molecules floating in the air like a kind of a constant whisper between plants. An aromatic gossip going on and on and on. Some of you may think, well, maybe they talk about us. No, I don't think so. Again, we always pretend to be at the center of the world. But plants don't give a damn about us. We are not more interesting to them than any other bacteria or parasite. For this reason, they never stop talking and saying things one to another. But landscapes don't smell the same way in winter than in summer or autumn, as well as they don't tell each other the same things. This is obvious. But they also don't smell the same way first time in the morning that at noon. Because plants, like we do, don't ever forget that we are nature, behave in a completely different way depending on the time of the day and season. So now that you more or less understood why landscapes smell like they do, I would like to make a little parenthesis over plants. You see, I have no doubts about the supremacy of the plant kingdom over the animal kingdom. I know all this kingdom thing may sound a little bit old-fashioned and démodé, but Well, it's for you to understand me. You see, plants were here before us, and here they will remain much after we will become extinct. This should be already, it would give you a clue about this. But if this is not enough, let me just tell you how useful plants are to us, because this is their strategy. Their main strategy of the plants is being useful. Of course, to begin, we have the air that we breathe is because of the plants. But there are many other things. There is construction material, you have medicines, food, of course, many things. And this is their strategy, being useful, as well as fertility. You see, a plague of rats, of cockroaches would terrify us. Everybody would go crazy. Please, please stop this. An overpopulation of rabbits or wild boars, it's a problem, especially here in the countryside. But I never have seen anybody getting even slightly disturbed to see 100 hectares of wheat. A pine forest does not alarm anyone. But there they are, reproducing themselves constantly, without any ostentation, yet deliciously scented. Nature has those things, you see. It humbles us with its immensity and confronts the banality of our day-to-day with the sublime. But at the same time, it makes you discover the wonder of being part of something that is beyond ourselves. Well, I think it's about time to close the parenthesis and start our olfactory journey. Inside the landscape scents box, you will find, among many other nice things, 3 fragrances: Bosque, Muga, and Kala. We will start with Bosque. Of course, the best way to enjoy and feel these 100% natural aromas is directly on your skin. But if you don't feel like wearing a landscape this morning, you can always use the 3 muillettes you will also find there. If you already got wild and want to have a real experience, olfactory experience, roll up the sleeve of your left arm and apply Bosque on your inner wrist. And now, ladies and gentlemen, sniff deeply and be ready to jump into the deep, shadowy forest of the Pyrenees. Bosque means forest in Catalan, but it's not a conceptual forest. It distills the deep aromas and sensations that strike you when entering the Pyrenees woods first time in the morning. These old forests witnessed Hannibal's feet on his way to Rome. Can you imagine? That curious caravan of colorful warriors and elephants crossing these hills and valleys, that had to be incredible. Once exploited for the extreme quality of the holm oak cork, today it's a refuge for wild boars, and they stay there resisting to the pitiless destruction of the fire fanned by the Tramontana wind coming from the north. The Pyrenees are a natural border with France. It is so for animals and plants, but sometimes it even seems that the sun stops there on our side. Lucky we. The richness of its underbush, covered with ferns, holly, heather and moss, together with the strangely sweet smell of dead leaves and rotten woods, gives you a clue to the underground frenetic activity of worms and roots. Oaks, holm oaks, junipers and beeches fight for the light as pines complete the aromatic cocktail with their resinous tears and the freshness of their needles. The first thing you will get by inhaling this 100% natural perfume that you have on your hand is the tonic note of the rosemary together with the green, fresh notes of the juniper berries. But very soon, it will strike you the peculiar aroma of the mastic plant. Mastic plant is one of the most common bushes of our Mediterranean transition forests. Mastic plant, Pistacia lentiscus is its scientific name, has been used since ancient times in the Mediterranean basin. Greeks used its resin as a natural toothpaste, and Phoenicians used the branches to cushion their loads of amphorae and jars during their many crossings and trade sales. Probably this helped the incredible expansion of this plant in the Mediterranean. In Spain, although it was exploited for many centuries, today it's a complete unknown for many people, despite the fact that its properties are many and its unmistakable aroma is very appreciated by perfumers all around the world. After a while, and as a base note, the deep earthiness of the oak moss will arise. The oak moss is in fact a lichen, a wonderful collaboration between an algae and a fungus. Not a long time ago, nobody really knew where to place them. They were not real plants nor animals, but the incredible resistance and resilience of these incredible creatures has aroused the interest of scientists in recent decades. Where algae and fungus don't arrive by themselves, these two botanic outsiders defy the limits of life. And this particular one, called Evernia prunastri, is one of the best known vegetal perfume fixers in the world that gives its deep woody personality to the popular fougere family that the perfumers say. The fougere family are in fact the forest perfumes. What you're feeling right now is nothing but an early morning walk through the sunny side of the Pyrenees, surrounded by oaks, junipers, mastic plants, rosemary, pines. You can see it. You can smell it. But why don't you take a little bit of time and just listen to it? Now that we have visited the mountains, why don't we just walk down to the plains? This is the moment for muga. And now apply muga on your right inner wrist. Muga is the name of a river. It is not an imposing river. Neither huge waterfalls nor rapids, no great bridges anywhere. It crosses the Alt Empordà's plains from Serra de Bac-Grillera to the Rosas Gulf with a delicious discreetness. And maybe this is the reason why nobody really knows its secret wonders. Its waters irrigate the whole plain, making it a place to live. Fertility gathers people, but before that, animals. And much before that, of course, plants. You see, it seems incredible how many wild corners survive in the Empordà's plain, from the wetlands near the sea to the scrublands where we are here, at the foot of La Albera Mountains. But for Brabant Arif are the scrublands who give their aromatic signature to the plain, especially in spring when it's covered with bloomy rosemary, thyme, Spanish lavender, rock roses, and immortelle. You see, the magic of this online olfactory journey is that you are now smelling the place where I am. Delicious, isn't it? The exuberance of this natural blend enchants you, healing your body and lifting your spirit. Don't you think? Let me make you a little confession here. Whenever I'm here harvesting, I always have the need to stop and say sorry to the bees. for this unfair competition. You see, I'm always with my pruning shears, and they have these little bodies, and they go from one flower to another. You may think that it's a little bit exaggerating, but for me it's becoming like a ritual. I really do. I stop, and when I see a bee, I tell her, you see, I'm sorry, I have to apologize. For me, it's again a way to remember that we are just a little part of nature, and that we are visitors here, and we are like their guests. I know it may sound a little bit strange, but for me it's important, and I think that it's also important that you remember that. We are visitors. But going back to Muga and the plane that this perfume captures, I'm sure you already can feel the benefits of its typically Mediterranean aromatic top notes. Among the rosemary, the Spanish lavender, and the thyme, you will notice a very particular aroma coming from the immortelle. Helichrysum stoicas is its scientific name. Immortelle was the favorite flower of Gala, Dali's wife and muse. You can find immortelle almost everywhere in their Port Lligat house, everywhere in the garden, even hanging from the ceiling. You see, this flower is very particular because when you cut it fresh, the flower keeps its intense yellow color for months, even for years. This is why, this is the reason why for its immortal name, and also for the great affection of Gala. Humans, we always have been very attractive by this idea of immortality. Plants, no, plants, they don't have this problem. But anyway, it's curious because my grandfather always used to tell me that in the Spanish graveyards, before the arrival of the plastic plants, they were all full with bouquets of immortelle. So imagine, for my grandfather, death actually smelled like immortelle, which is an interesting and curious contradiction. But there's something very peculiar about Muga. It's something that you will feel after a while, even after an hour. I'm sure you will feel it after this video is finished, for sure. And this is this deep, dark, animalic note of the rock roses. Can you feel it? The family of the Thistus, Thistus montpelliensis, Thistus albidus, and Thistus ladanifer. We have them all around here. They cover the hills and scrublands of the Empurda with its sticky, dark, and sensual aroma. Since they are especially resistant to fire, they have become the real masters of these dry, windy regions so devastated by fires. So, what you have here now is an incredibly complex trip. It's impertinent and unpredictable, like spring. It's really like an evolving fragrance, evolving from the tonic notes of the aromatic plants to the deep, dark, sensual, animalic notes of the rock roses. Here it is. Yeah, it's a trip in itself. Oh, so why don't we just take a rest for a while? I think it's been very intense, especially for your nose, you know. Usually, professionals, usually they use coffee grains. They smell coffee grains. But now you can smell, for example, your sleeve. Something that is neutral, something that you can recognize, that smells the same way all the time. So in order to set your counter to zero, let's say, in terms of smell, this way you can get to a new fragrance and really get all the nuances and all the differences from one fragrance to another. So if you smell your sleeve, it will do. Here for me, is very difficult because you see I'm surrounded by all these incredible aromatic plants. Here we have this Spanish lavender, cantueso, we call it, capdaza. So for me it's difficult because I'm surrounded by many smells, but for you there at home, you do like this, and then you will get a little bit rest for your nose. So what about a swim? Why not? Why don't we just let ourselves go with the flow of the Muga River all the way down to the Costa Brava? Now it's time for Cala. Before tourism arrived to Costa Brava, its calas were quite lonely places. Rocky, rough, and no good for farming, calas were abandoned and ignored for centuries. Only pirates, smugglers, and fishermen used them to protect themselves from the treacherous Mediterranean Sea. Even nowadays, the inaccessibility of their locations keeps their wild nature, giving to the flip-flop explorer the illusion of a virgin discovery. The extreme exposure of the vegetation to the constant forces of the sea gives the plants an outstanding strength. Only the brave one can survive, and this is what our coast aroma is made of. This is what Cala smells like. One of the most pleasant and fearless things you can do in the Costa Brava is certainly to walk through the Camins de Ronda. Wandering through this devious silhouette of the coast, walking between two elements, the sea and the rocks, is certainly one of the best ways to get to know some of the most hidden treasures and secrets of the coast. And in fact, smelling Cala will bring you some of these secrets. Like the samphire, for example. The samphire we call here Fonoll Marí, which means sea fennel. The sea fennel captures the complexity of the place. This rough and very discreet plant that grows in the very rough rocks next to the sea has this salty sea character together with the spicy, sweet fennel touch of the plant. As you can see, is deliciously contradictive, like we are. Okay, probably by now you are all wondering, all right, we used our left wrist, our right wrist, where shall we apply this Cala perfume? You just have to roll up your left sleeve all the way up to your elbow, okay? So, showing your inner side of the elbow. And this is the place where you are going to apply Cala. You see, directly to the vein. You will also find some other type of fennels, of course. You have the bitter fennel, the sweet fennel, along with the fresh note, the refreshing note of the mint, the water mint. You also will find the green note of the cypress trees. And to finish with the dry note of the sage, of the Spanish sage, combined again with the sensuality of the rock roses. Now, close your eyes, take a sniff on Cala, and imagine this scene. Picture yourself now walking naked on a dusty country road, drying yourself out after a plunge into the Mediterranean Sea on a hidden Costa Brava cove, flanked by cypress trees and squeezing a branch of fennel between your teeth. I bet you would like to stop the trip here and never come back to reality. But I'm sorry, I have to bring you back. You see, there's a lot more to discover today. We can't forget that this is a working meeting, and you have many interesting people to meet yet. Remember that now you are wearing our landscapes on you. You can go back there any time during the day. And you will always be able to visit them with your nose thanks to our olfactory journey kit with the landscape scent box. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this trip. The truth is that it has been a real pleasure guiding you through the plants, the landscapes, and the aromas that I love. And I really wish that anybody visiting us here will feel exactly the same way that I do. And remember that it's not only about crossing the landscape, but about letting the landscape cross through to you. To let yourself be affected by the landscape, to be open for a transformation, for a change. I'm quite sure that our landscapes, the Girona Pyrenees and the Costa Brava landscapes, can operate this miracle for you and for your clients. So see you soon, and even better, smell you soon.
Thanks guys! And thanks agencies and media for watching us. It has been a pleasure to show you around our region, watching you practice and explain all the different activities. Norbert was right about living twice at once, wasn't he? Now that you know a little bit more about Costa Brava and the Pyrenees of Girona, it's a good time to start a workshop, so that you can see firsthand how local companies transform all these activities into tourist products. Before I say goodbye, I would really encourage you to come and see for yourself our destination in person. I'm definitely gonna stay here for a couple more years. Come and see for yourself and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye en tot de volgende keer.
Dank u wel. Thank you and enjoy Costa Brava and Pyrenees of Girona.
Au revoir.